Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Nick is the reason Brooke is leaving Forrester Creations. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, she has obviously had enough and it's time for her to move on from this. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Nick is the reason Brooke is leaving Forrester Creations. Naturally, we are referring to Brooke Logan because there is a lot of conjecture that she may leave Forrester Creations as soon as Nick Marone comes to this made-up Los Angeles town. Despite his explicit preference to spend his time with Taylor Hayes, Brooke has been hankering after Ridge Forrester for the past few weeks. However, Nick's return raises the possibility that he would persuade her to not just reconcile but also permanently depart Forrester Creations. After all, the people in charge of the business don't even respect or value her. As you may imagine, B&B fans expressed their opinions on social media. Some have gone so far as to say, "I believe they're preparing for Brooke to leave Forrester Creations when Nick gets back." Although I don't believe Brooke is quitting the show, I do believe Nick will make it easier for her to do so. They don't respect her, so it's about darn time. Correct me if I'm wrong, commented another fan. But after he had snatched the final version of Forrester, he turned it into Jackie M. designs for his mother. Perhaps it never completely dissolved and he and Brooke can somehow bring it back to life? Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, what will happen to Brooke Logan next? The more I think about it, it's kind of interesting how many times they brought this up, about the Logan's contribution to Forrester Creations yet never really said she's a valued member, was another statement that was made. The Logans will be leaving the company and possibly starting a rival company with Nick, I believe they have been telling us. Fans of The Bold and the Beautiful will, of course, just have to tune in every single day to see what happens next. Steffy is in charge of Ridge. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge Forrester has committed one of the most significant blunders of his life, but it's unclear if he is aware of it. For all the information you require, continue reading below. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy is controlling Ridge. Many B&B viewers will be aware that Steffy Forrester is the one who consistently makes the important choices at the Forrester estate and in the Forrester Creations offices. She actually never goes a day without bickering with someone or making fun of Hope Logan. It appears that Ridge has made the decision to live out the rest of his days with Taylor Hayes solely because Steffy is the one who consistently advocates for their family to reunite. This is true even if she is an adult and her brother Thomas Forrester is no longer involved. But according to spoilers on The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge will become envious as soon as he witnesses Brooke having sex with her former partner, Nick Marone. That's when he'll realize that picking Taylor over Brooke was a terrible mistake since, despite Taylor's sexiness, Logan, the gorgeous blonde, will always have his heart. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, is Ridge Forrester making a mistake? It's unclear if he will be able to make things right, but let's just say that Steffy won't be pleased if her father tries to turn around and get Brooke back while completely abandoning his love for Taylor and shattering her heart once more. We've seen him do this before, isn't that right? Fans of The Bold and the Beautiful will, of course, just have to tune in every single day to see what happens next. Is Ridge able to fire Brooke? Forrester loyalty tested by Taylor's ultimatum. Ridge Forrester is caught between his difficult past with Brooke at Forrester Creations and his loyalty to Taylor. To please Taylor, would he go too far and dismiss his ex-wife? Will Ridge make the impossible decision to fire Brooke in order to keep Taylor happy? The lines of battle have been set, and it's personal this time. According to reports, Taylor Hayes is nearing her breaking point because of Brooke Logan's persistent presence at Forrester Creations and her overt attempts to woo Ridge Forrester back. But is it really possible that Taylor will force Ridge to fire his ex-wife? And more significantly, would he do it? Riding in an impossible position is made possible by Taylor's ultimate. Let's be honest, Taylor has had enough of Brooke's pranks. Not only is she fed up with Brooke's efforts to rehire Hope at Forrester, but she is also enraged by the lingerie model's blatant attempts to woo Ridge in front of her. Ridge made his commitment apparent earlier this year when he chose Taylor over Brooke. Despite this, Brooke continues to insist that they always come back to each other and declare that Ridge is the only man in my life. And Taylor's anger was understandable. When Taylor entered and discovered Brooke modeling lingerie at Forrester Creations, it was the tipping point. Talk about improper conduct at work. Taylor didn't believe Brooke's assertion that it was for work purposes, most likely for her Brooke's bedroom brand. The entire event smacked of a last-ditch effort to get Ridge back into her web. Why Ridge may astonish everyone by refusing. Things start to get very interesting at this point. Taylor may be shocked to learn that there is a limit that even Ridge won't cross for her if she does insist that Ridge fire Brooke. Ridge has made it very evident that he picked Taylor, yet occasionally his lingering looks give the impression that he may be regretting his decision. If the man is not conflicted, he is nothing. Not to mention that Brooke's accomplishments at Forrester Creations have been much too significant to be written off due to personal drama. Nor does Ridge have a reputation for being a good follower. This is an opinionated, passionate man who hates being told what to do or that he is mistaken. We've all witnessed his obstinate defense of his beliefs, particularly in relation to family businesses. Eric Forrester, the best roadblock ever. One person would probably put an end to this right now. Even if Ridge wanted to give in to Taylor's demands, Eric Forrester would never permit Ridge to fire Brooke for something so private. Brooke has always had a special place in the heart of the Forrester patriarch, who knows her importance to the business better than anyone else. In addition, whether Taylor likes it or not, Brooke and Ridge are forever linked because they have a kid named RJ. The already uneasy family dynamic would be made even worse by firing his child's mother. Everything could change with the fallout. The consequences could be disastrous if Taylor does give this order. Ridge's denial might force him back into Brooke's waiting arms and cause significant strain in his relationship with Taylor. Conversely, he would be alienating not only Brooke but also possibly Eric and other Forrester family members if he actually carried out the termination of Brooke, which seems quite unlikely. In any case, Taylor could suffer a terrible outcome from this power play. If Ridge pushes himself too hard, he might be reminded of why he has consistently returned to Brooke throughout the years. The crucial query still stands: to what far will Taylor go in order to remove Brooke from Ridge's life? And will she end up losing everything because she is desperate to be the one woman in his heart? As Brooke hits the sheets with Carter, her embarrassment increases. Over the years, Brooke Logan, one of the most recognizable and contentious characters on The Bold and the Beautiful, has experienced her share of heartbreaks, scandals, and public humiliations. Her emotional frailty, however, drove her into the arms of Carter Walton, the attractive and devoted COO of Forrester Creations, in one of her most startling storylines. In addition to exacerbating Brooke's personal problems, this unplanned romance rocked the Forrester and Logan families, rekindling long-standing animosities and treacheries. The events leading up to Brooke's demise. Long before she became involved with Carter, Brooke was becoming more and more embarrassed. Her marriage to the love of her life, Ridge Forrester, was always in jeopardy, whether it was because of internal strife brought on by Ridge's indecision or external plotters like Sheila Carter. The last straw was when Ridge faltered in his dedication once more, making Brooke feel uneasy and abandoned. After years of being humiliated for her amorous past, which earned her the notorious slut of Beverly Hills moniker, her already brittle self-esteem finally broke. Carter was also in a vulnerable situation, having recently experienced heartbreak following his aborted engagement to Quinn Fuller. The two bonded over their common suffering and sought comfort in each other's company. What began as harmless emotional support quickly turned into a passionate affair that neither party had expected and something much more deadly. Los Angeles was shocked by the affair. When Brooke and Carter went too far, it wasn't just a passing error of judgment, rather, it was a full-fledged romantic entanglement that had the potential to ruin several relationships. Known for his honesty, Carter battled guilt since he knew that having an affair with his boss's wife, who also happened to be his buddy Hope's mother, was a betrayal of confidence. Brooke, on the other hand, struggled with defiance and remorse. After years of mistreatment, she felt she deserved happiness, but she also feared the inevitable retribution. Either a leaked film, an unintentional walk-in, or a vindictive third party, maybe Quinn or perhaps Sheila, revealed the affair in typical soap opera form. The consequences were severe and swift. Hope and Bridget were appalled by their mother's behavior, while Ridge, who was already prone to self-righteous rage, felt profoundly betrayed. Even Eric, who had always felt sorry for Brooke, was let down. The legacy of Brooke and the double standard. The unfair treatment Brooke endured was among the plot's most captivating elements. Brooke's transgression was viewed as an unforgivable sin, but Ridge had forgiven himself, and others, for innumerable affairs. Fan arguments were stoked by this hypocrisy. Was Brooke being unfairly maligned, or had she really gone too far? Caught in the middle, Carter also had to deal with the fallout. His bond with the Forresters was strained, and his image as the good guy was damaged. While some people viewed him and Brooke as a terrible error, others cheered them on as a real romance. Redemption and the aftermath? As is customary in soap operas, the controversy resulted in heated arguments, heartbreaking admissions, and perhaps even a brief reconciliation between Brooke and Ridge. Carter would either ask for forgiveness or find a new love interest, while Brooke's path to redemption would entail restoring trust with her family. This plotline gave Brooke another chapter in her turbulent life while reinforcing the drama that is characteristic of the bold and the beautiful: passion, treachery, and family conflicts. Fans were riveted to their televisions because of Brooke Logan's humiliation, regardless of whether they viewed her as a villain or a victim. Do you want me to go into further detail about any particular aspect of this plot, including character motives, fan reactions, or potential plot twists? Will Taylor's risky bet backfire? Taylor's desperate SOS to Nick Marone. Few characters in the constantly shifting world of the bold and the beautiful have gone through as many emotional ups and downs as Dr. Taylor Hayes. Taylor, a dedicated mother, a gifted psychiatrist, and a lady who has experienced decades of heartache and love, has frequently been presented as the respectable opposite to Brooke Logan's more scandalous amorous relationships. But in a startling turn of events, Taylor's desperation erupts to the point that she sends an SOS to Nick Marone, a man from her past who used to be both a source of comfort and a source of havoc in her life. Depending on how the high-stakes drama in Los Angeles plays out, this bold decision could be her rescue or her downfall. The events leading up to Taylor's demise. Taylor doesn't suddenly become desperate. She is emotionally exhausted after witnessing her relationship with Ridge Forrester, her on-again, off-again lover, swing back and forth between her and Brooke for years. Taylor has never been completely free from the shadow of the Logan Forrester war, even with her career success and her children's devotion. Every time she believes she is at last free, whether it is through a new relationship, a new beginning overseas, or even a brief reconciliation with Ridge, fate, or the authors, pulls her back into the conflict. Her most recent collapse was probably brought on by yet another betrayal or abandonment. After a brief reconnection with Taylor, Ridge may have once again chosen Brooke, leaving her feeling demoralized and without hope. Perhaps her rock, Steffy, is too enmeshed in her own drama, perhaps with Sheila or Finn, to provide assistance. Or maybe after years of being the understanding one, always the voice of reason, but never the one who secures her happy ending, Taylor has reached her breaking point. In any event, something breaks inside of her, and she goes to Nick Marone, the one man who once gave her a way out, in an instant of extreme weakness. Why Nick Marone? A difficult past. Nick Marone, a character from Taylor's past who stands for both an error and a lost chance, is more than just a haphazard cry for assistance. Nick was involved in a tumultuous love triangle with Brooke and Taylor years ago. He and Taylor even staged a relationship at one point to arouse Ridge's jealousy, which then turned into genuine affection. Although their bond was strong, it didn't last long because Ridge and Tridge's attraction constantly seemed to outweigh outside romances. Nick is now Taylor's last option when she is at her lowest. Perhaps she thinks he is the only one who can really relate to her suffering. Perhaps she wants to leave the Forresters and start again. Or perhaps she has a covert plan, like manipulating Nick to make Ridge regret his decisions, in typical soap opera fashion. Regardless of her intentions, contacting Nick is a risky move. The repercussions: will Taylor's reputation be ruined by this action? After previous breakdowns, Taylor has spent years repairing her reputation. Do you recall when she shot Bill Spencer in a fit of rage? She has put a lot of effort into being regarded as steady, sage, and above the small-scale conflicts that characterize the Forrester universe. However, this frantic appeal to Nick might ruin that reputation. Will this be turned into another Taylor can't handle rejection story if she is actually looking for solace? Will she lose the moral advantage she has over Brooke if she is manipulating the situation? Will Ridge become more hostile toward Brooke if he learns, concluding that Taylor is unable to break the cycle? How about Nick's part? Does he have his own intentions, or is he returning as a white knight? His return can unexpectedly rekindle old rivalries given his past with Brooke. The more important question, can Taylor be saved? Although cycles of sin and forgiveness are the lifeblood of soap operas, Taylor's most recent behavior may go too far for even her devoted followers to overlook. She runs the risk of becoming into the person she has consistently condemned Brooke for being, a woman who allows love to impair her judgment, if she is actually using Nick as a pawn. However, there's also a potential that today will be the moment she breaks free. What if Taylor eventually leaves for good rather than resuming the Forrester drama? What if Nick enables her to recognize that she is happy outside of Ridge's sphere of influence? Although it's unlikely in the soap opera industry, it would be a novel development for a character who merits better. In conclusion, Taylor Hayes' pivotal moment. Taylor's SOS to Nick Marone might be a pivotal moment in her character's development, not merely another plot twist. Will she ultimately be forced to break free from the destructive habits that have characterized her life, or will this desperate deed ultimately lead to her downfall? There is no doubt that no request for assistance is ignored in The Bold and the Beautiful, and no secret remains hidden for very long. Do you want me to go into more detail about any particular perspective, such Nick's possible responses, Ridge's impending breakdown, or how Steffy and Thomas might play a role in this? Or did you want a version that was more summary-like? Tell me how you want it adjusted. Taylor's covert scheme to distract Brooke by bringing Nick Marone back. Dr. Taylor Hayes has long been compelled to act as the dignified, patient counterpoint to Brooke Logan's scandalous amorous antics in The Bold and the Beautiful, where love is a battlefield and loyalty is a transient illusion. Beneath her calm facade, however, is a woman who has been pushed to the limit, one who has seen Ridge Forrester waver between her and Brooke too many times, who has been humiliated in public, and who has experienced emotional whiplash from the never-ending cycle of pain and hope. Now that Brooke is pursuing Ridge once more, Taylor has devised a high-stakes, covert plan to reverse the situation. She is bringing Nick Marone back to Los Angeles, not for herself, but in order to rekindle his former romance with Brooke and destroy her rival's marriage from the inside out. This is not merely a plot, it is a deliberate act of war that has the potential to either give Taylor the advantage at last or backfire so badly that even her own kids may never forgive her. Taylor's strategy is brilliant, but it's also dangerous since it's psychologically accurate. Nick Marone isn't just any man, he's a living reminder of Brooke's previous transgressions and the moment she betrayed Ridge by seeing another man. Their previous romance was tumultuous, dramatic, and almost ended Brooke's marriage. Taylor is using Brooke's greatest vulnerability, her inability to withstand temptation when she feels emotionally abandoned, as leverage by bringing Nick back into the fold. Additionally, Brooke is at risk for a moment of weakness that Taylor is all too eager to orchestrate, as Ridge is already preoccupied with his most recent existential crisis, because when is he not? However, this is about more than just retaliation, it's about permanently lifting the Bridge curse. Ridge would never trust her again if Brooke ends up in Nick's arms, and Taylor thinks that this time, he will be done with Brooke forever. However, the hazards are enormous, as is the case with any ambitious plans in soap operas. First, there's the issue of whether Nick will comply. He is a savvy businessman with his own pride, despite his past genuine affections for Brooke and even Taylor. He might turn on Taylor if he feels like he's being used, revealing her scheme and painting her as the manipulator Brooke has always portrayed her as. Even worse, what if Brooke and Nick have a genuine romance again once Nick returns? What if, rather than causing friction, he serves as the impetus for them to face their problems head-on and emerge stronger? Taylor might unintentionally give Brooke the same redemption storyline that she has been fighting so hard to avoid. The moral ramifications follow. For years, Taylor has positioned herself as the victimized, honorable lady who overcomes Brooke's devious tactics. However, she will be viewed as no better than the lady she hates if this conspiracy is revealed. Her kids would be appalled to hear that Taylor has resorted to setting up a honey trap for Brooke, especially Steffy, who has always admired her mother's courage and moral character. What about Ridge? Any residual guilt he may have about dragging her along could vanish if he learns of Taylor's involvement in this, leaving her even more alone. However, Brooke herself may be the most surprising element. Taylor is placing a wager on Brooke's impetuosity and propensity to revert to old habits when she feels uneasy, but what if Brooke has actually changed? What if she recognizes the setup and uses it against Taylor rather than giving in to Nick's charms? If Brooke learns about Taylor's involvement, she may use it as evidence that Taylor has always been the true manipulator, hiding in the background while playing the victim. Brooke is no stranger to psychological warfare. When cornered, Brooke has a talent for mobilizing supporters, and the Los Angeles public opinion court is erratic. There is a noticeable tension as Taylor's plan comes together. Forrester Creations is rocked by Nick's reappearance, and Donna, Katie, and even Eric provide their opinions on the unexpected blast from the past. Ridge is suspicious, Brooke is taken off balance, and Thomas, always the wild card, may either help his mother or hurt her by alerting Hope, who could alert Brooke. The scene is set for a confrontation that could either leave Taylor's reputation in ruins or finally tip the scales in her favor. Taylor's risk ultimately rests on one harsh reality: in the world of the bold and the beautiful, love is never simply love, rather, it's chess, and every move has repercussions. Regardless of the success or failure of her strategy, the consequences will undoubtedly be legendary. Will Brooke's marriage fail and Taylor win, watching from the sidelines? Or will her desperation ultimately lead to her downfall, demonstrating that nobody can outmaneuver fate in a community founded on secrets and treachery, not even the pious Taylor Hayes? Her cunning smiles, shadows, and the explosive moments that lie ahead hold the solution. To be honest, Ridge Forrester has always been the emotionally deranged man-child who lives on the bold and the beautiful, but recently? In addition to being a complete ick factory, the dude is producing cringe at a rate that should have the entire Forrester family requesting a restraining order. Ridge has officially reached his intolerable phase, as seen by his condescending "I know what's best for everyone" lectures and his whiplash-inducing flip-flopping between Brooke and Taylor. No amount of expensive suits or melancholy forehead furrows can stop this plunge into irreparable toxicity. The ick breakdown: reasons to stop Ridge Forrester. 1. The endless ping-pong match between Brooke and Taylor. Ridge's best skill? As if he were the final piece of pizza at a sleepover, causing two intelligent ladies to quarrel over him. Then, with the ferocity of a middle schooler handing a "Do you like me?" ballot box with check yes, ballot box with check no note, he is pledging eternal love to Brooke. The following one? As if she were his long-lost soulmate, he is staring at Taylor with a deep sense of devotion, until, of course, he changes his mind 3 episodes later. This is emotional whiplash, not romance, and both women ought to have given him a participation trophy and gone on by now. 2. The Hall of Fame for hypocrisy. Ridge's boldness has no limits. After becoming mad at Brooke for harboring secrets, he will turn around and conceal entire relationships, as if he were acting out a scene from Among Us. In an attempt to find himself, often in Taylor's arms, he may demand loyalty while ignoring his wife for weeks. Not to mention his ecclesiastical remarks, which were delivered with the solemnity of a man who has undoubtedly not cheated on all of his previous partners. It is astounding how little self-awareness there is. 3. The power trips of "I'm the patriarch." At Forrester Creations, nothing sets Ridge off more quickly than another person's decision. Does Eric dare to be creative? Then came Ridge's outburst. Does Steffy or Brooke take the lead? Get ready for a patronizing lecture. He struts around like a blazer-clad Don Corleone, but his leadership approach is essentially, "my way, or I'll pout until everyone caves." It is embarrassing rather than imposing. 4. The victim complex weaponized. The gold medal skill of Ridge? Blaming everyone else for his mistakes. Accused of lying? You pushed me to this. Is this once again cheating? You just don't understand me. It feels like we're witnessing a soap opera version of a TED Talk about gaslighting, and we're tired, to be honest.